We're here today for 20-ish questions with Colin Scharf.
And the rest of Madison Avenue.
Madness.
What is it? Would you do like Mad Ave?
Avenue.
But what's M? M-A? A? Anyway, hi.
Check it out.
Here, hold on, let's start over.
We are here for 20-ish questions with Colin Scharf. What are the names of all the bands that you're in right now?
Currently, Goodnight Gold Dust is my main squeeze. My new group that I'm very excited about is Silver Summer.
What are 3 words that you would use to describe Silver Summer?
We're gonna dim the lights for this one. Well, I'm gonna do a phrase. The phrase that I would use to describe Silver Summer is midnight music for summer lovers.
Oh, would you sing to me now?
Yeah.
What about those guys out there?
Those are our friends.
What's your favorite piece of clothing right now?
Laura, I'm glad you asked. I've recently gotten into silk robes. I just want to wear this everywhere I go.
So as you mentioned, you're from Western New York, from Ellicottville. What do you think is one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about the area that you're from?
It's less a misconception about being from my hometown and more just a misconception about being a New Yorker. Everybody assumes you're from the city. When I moved out here, I did my best to introduce myself as being from a very small town in southwestern New York State, and every time, wow, must be a big city. But I've been in Minnesota since 2007, and I love it here. I love Mankato. I love all the people that I've met here. This is a great town.
Yeah.
I love this place.
You moved here for the creative writing program in your graduate school, was in poetry.
Correct.
Do you remember reading a poem and being like, oh, that's what poetry can be? Maybe I'm a poet.
Really, it wasn't until I read Howl, Allen Ginsberg's Howl, my head just exploded.
Do you think it has to do in some way maybe with the marriage of music and writing?
With the beats, it's certainly that freedom of line, that freedom of language, their fearlessness to just follow the idea and go with it. I loved the lack of restraint. I still have a hard time like being sort of boxed in, you know, like you do this thing and this is what you do, like that. I go nuts when I get put into a box.
Nobody puts baby in a box.
Did you have a favorite place to visit when you were a kid?
I was obsessed with the Naval Park, which is in Buffalo. I loved it. I would have gone every day. My grandfather was a World War II vet, and I just became really obsessed with that.
And you just went and saw the same thing over and over again?
Yep, you just went on the ships, we boogied through the submarine, imagined yourself as some, young Navy sailor.
Well, I guess like getting to study it almost, like getting to see this actual piece of American history.
It was fascinating. Like, you could just as easily go to Paisley Park, and that's something local, and say, like, this is where history was made. You go to First Avenue, same thing. Prince recorded Purple Rain on this stage. You can sort of feel the energy, that ghost energy that's kind of hanging out there.
Speaking of ghost ships, did you ever see anything paranormal?
Well, you would ask. I may have had my first paranormal experience on the USS Sullivan. You would walk onto the ship and you would just begin the tour. The first room you went into was a photo memorabilia room. All these photos are there. They're on the wall in glass frames. And then I remember looping back through the ship, maybe some 20 minutes later, and I stepped alone into that same room to leave the ship, and all the photos were gone. And there was this really odd energy in that room, like ominous presence. I was spooked.
What is your favorite scary movie? I know you are a connoisseur.
I take that as a compliment, though I don't know if I would consider myself a connoisseur. I have very particular taste in horror movies.
Spooky specifics.
It has to be serious, it has to be well done, and I guess that's it.
Spooky specifics.
I make horror comedies.
Carl, have you fixed the toilet yet?
Some things just can't be fixed.
The bathroom floor is always wet. It's like that stupid toilet is drooling.
Also defends against the marmal.
The marmal?
You're having strange dreams and you're waking up in your front yard stinking like booze? Just blame the marmal.
Marmal! 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 Oh, God!
because it's easy and fun, but I don't like horror comedies. But I like when a film is so effectively scary that it just gets inside of you. I would count The Exorcist, yeah, as my number one. Not for the scares, but more for its sense of hope. I'm not a particularly religious person, but everybody around her is literally praying to God, but also channeling all of this sort of positive energy toward her to help her get out of this terrible situation. It's a hopeful film, yeah.
What is scarier, vampires or goblins?
The word goblin is funny. I don't think I would want to like be walking through the woods and then suddenly a goblin pops out and is chasing after me. Like, I don't want to deal with that. A vampire, there's this like whole seduction thing. You know, you live forever, right? But a goblin, I don't know.
Yeah.
So what's my answer? What's my answer?
So the answer is
Goblins!
ghosts or demons?
The thought of demonic possession is like everybody's deepest fear. It's like you're losing your mind.
Yeah.
You know?
What about like poltergeists or demons?
I
'Cause
like.
they can mess with your stuff.
They can, yeah. Like maybe it was a poltergeist on the USS Sullivan, moving the photos around. I would take a ghost over a demon in the house any day, yeah.
You hear that? Changelings or the Mothman?
Mothman, every day, all
Scarier.
day.
The Marmel or the Hodag?
Ooh, man. Well, somebody in this video invented the marmal.
The marmal.
So he's gonna be rooting for the marmal.
The marmal.
Demons or the Mothman?
Mothman.
Mothman's scarier than demons.
Oh, no, I like the Mothman more than I like demons.
The question is, which is scarier?
Demons.
Demons or the Marmel?
Marmal, man.
It's the marmal.
The marmal?
The marmal.
What's the first album you remember buying?
The first tape I probably bought was like a Garth Brooks something or other, because Garth Brooks is the man. You know what I'm doing, right? You know what I'm standing. Right.
Is there a song that motivates you?
For the past few years, it's been Frank Ocean's White Ferrari. It's one of the most beautiful songs I think that's ever been written. The Beatles' Tomorrow Never Knows, really all of Revolver, which incidentally inspired Frank Ocean's Blonde.
Cats or dogs?
Cats!
Beatles or Rolling Stones?
Oh, the Beatles. I mean, come on, is it even a question? The Rolling Stones, the Rolling Stones. Look, I'm sorry if you're a Stones fan, but I just never got into them. Beast of Burden, though, might be basic,
Yeah.
but that's a song. The Beatles, they changed everything. Come at me in the comments.
Strokes or Talking Heads?
The Strokes, while they are very cool, are almost a little too cool. David Byrne has a lot of heart. You listen to This Must Be the Place, I'm getting welled up just kind of thinking about it. It's just such a beautiful song, such a beautiful way to put into words that feeling of, I know I've met the love of my life.
Whitney Houston or Tina Turner?
Tina Turner. Yeah, Whitney. Yeah, she's otherworldly.
These are going to be tough. Mick Jones, Joe Strummer.
They couldn't have done it without each other. They're Lennon and McCartney.
What about Lennon or McCartney?
You know who I've actually been more fascinated by recently is George Martin.
Oh.
I want a George Martin in my life. I want to go to some place every day for 8 to 10 hours and have that person deal with all the stuff that is going on up here. If you're out there, please, I welcome you in.
Do you have a favorite song that you've written right now?
Yes, I have an answer for that question. Is there more space on this side of me or on this side of me? It's a song called Ocean Drive, 1982.
Is there like a musician who you turn to when you're feeling down, or an album that you turn to try to maybe lift your spirits or bring you some inspiration or motivation?
Every night before a big show, I would stay up just watching live Clash videos. They got on stage and they went as fast and as hard and as precise and as beautifully as they could go. That's the energy I try to bring to my performances. There's no other group like them, at least for me.
What is something that you hope to achieve this year?
Let's see, I'm gonna answer this precisely. I hope to be able to spend as much quality time helping people produce cool things.
If you could go back in time and give young Colin one piece of advice, what would it be?
I would probably say don't be afraid to ask for help. I feel like I spent a lot of my youth being quiet, you know, because I didn't know how to do something and I was afraid to ask. I was intimidated, or even like I thought I was too good to ask for help, you know? Like those sort of stupid thoughts. If I could go back in time, find me at 14, I would say, look man, there's gonna be a lot of things that you don't know how to do. And people are gonna come at you one way or the other. They're going to think you're an idiot because you don't know how to do it, or they're going to think, hey, I can help you. And you're going to feel afraid probably to ask for help. But I'm going to tell you, this is 35-year-old me telling 14-year-old me, don't be afraid to ask for help. It will only make you better.
Well, thank you, Colin. When are you playing the Golden Hour?
Yes, you can see Silver Summer with Goal Area 51 this Saturday on the patio at the Wine Cafe.
Amazing. Are we going to see this robe again?
You just might. I'll walk up kind of like a Rocky Balboa kind of thing.
Sounds great. Thanks for chatting with us today, Colin. We'll see you Saturday.